Good morning, everybody. Hope you've had a good week and good weekend planned. And part of that plan includes being in God's house Sunday morning, worshiping with God's people. This morning, if you will, get your Bible and let's go back to the third chapter of the book of Proverbs. We'll be starting in the 25th verse, Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 25. Good words for us today, especially in the world that we live in. And the Proverbs writer here, as he speaks to his son, tells him of one of the advantages of wisdom is that wisdom allows us not to live in fear. That we don't allow fear to control our life. And many people today, they are even believers, afraid of so many things. As we look around the world, and there's certainly things that concern us and should concern us. To use the biblical phrase, we constantly wars and rumors of wars. We've had almost 3 years now of this of the COVID, and in the middle of that, monkeypox comes along, and just it seems like every day there's something terrorism that we are dealing with in our world, and so there's certainly things that concern us. And that we should be aware of and that we should be prepared for. But we shouldn't allow those things to control us and to grip us and to terrorize. Speaking of terrorism, shouldn't allow them to terrorize us in our life. And the psalmist, as he writes these words, he says, "Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh." Again, there are that sudden fear, those unforeseen things that we don't know, don't expect. The terrorism, the natural disasters. He says they shouldn't put fear in us. They shouldn't have us living in a state of fear. The Bible teaches us that God doesn't give us the spirit of fear. We shouldn't have fear of the desolation of the wicked. The destruction that is coming for a believer, we don't have to live with that kind of fear in our life. And again, that doesn't mean we don't prepare. I'm not saying you don't put up some water and some canned goods and some toilet paper and paper towels and some medicine, some of those kind of things that you need to be prepared. But there is a difference in being prepared for things and living in fear and allowing fear to control. Some people are literally paralyzed. That they just can't really function because of their fear. The again. The fact, the great fear that a lot of people live in, and the end of the world. We know God's going to judge this world. That judgment is coming sooner rather than later, I believe. But as a believer, when you have the wisdom of God, when you have the knowledge of God, a relationship with God, we don't have to live in fear of that judgment either. And he says in verse 26, he says, "For the Lord shall be thy confidence and shall keep thy foot from being taken." We don't fear because God is our shield. God is our protection. And what Proverbs is teaching us is that wisdom causes us to put our confidence in God, not in our own ability, not in our own strength. Um, I to use myself as an example, after 2 years ago when COVID first started and all the grocery shelves were bare, I took a little space in my house and put up some shelves, and we started, kind of storing up and buying a few extra canned goods and some dry beans, some of those kind of things along the way, being prepared. But I'm not depending on those food supplies to rescue me. My confidence is in the Lord. And that's what the writer here is talking about, is that we don't put our confidence in ourselves. The reason that we don't have to be afraid of sudden fear is because our confidence is in the Lord, because we believe He will protect us and keep our foot from being taken, keep us from falling. And wisdom means that we don't live in fear of some sudden disaster, some imminent problem, but we have our confidence in God Himself, in His power, not in the power of our government, not in our military, not in our own strength, but confident in God and His strength, knowing that He has a plan, He has a purpose for our life, that He is ultimately in charge, that God is sovereign, and He rules and reigns, and therefore we don't have to live in fear. And that is a very needed, timely message in this world we live in the culture we live in. And Christians, my challenge for you today is that as you go in and out, as you go around family and friends, co-workers, is that you exhibit not an arrogance, not a pride, but simply a confidence in the sovereignty and the authority of God. That we don't have to live in terror of sudden disaster. You have a good day. Live in that confidence, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.